My dear friends, welcome to my video session. So in this session I am going to discuss today about the arrays, types of arrays, declaration of one-dimensional arrays, initialization of one-dimensional arrays, and how to read and write the arrays, one-dimensional arrays, reading and writing one-dimensional arrays. So first let us see what is meant by an array. Array is nothing but the collection of elements of same data type or group of elements of same data type, or we can even call them a set of elements of same data type. So here we highlight same data type. All the elements of an array must be of same data type, means data type may be integer, all elements may be of int type, or all elements must be of float type, or all elements must be of character type, CHR type. There should not be mixing of data types in array elements, that is a few elements of array are of data type int and a few other elements are of array data type float, not permitted. So that's why I repeat, array is nothing but set of elements of same data type. So types of arrays in C language, we have two types of arrays called one-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. One-dimensional arrays are also known as single-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. So single-dimensional arrays will have only one subscript. We will come to know what is a subscript later on. Then multi-dimensional arrays will have more than one subscripts. So if there are two subscripts, we call it as a two-dimensional array. If there are three subscripts, it is called a three-dimensional array. Like that it goes on. So that's why we have basically two types, single dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. So let us focus on single dimensional arrays. So in single dimensional arrays, we have only one subscript, and we can say array variable uses only one subscript or single subscript within a pair of square brackets. So here you can observe here x of 0. So x within square bracket we have written 0, x within square bracket we have written 1, x within square bracket we have written 2, like that. So here 0 written within square bracket or 1 written within square bracket is called subscript. So subscript is written within square brackets, and here x we call it as name of the variable. X is called name of the variable. So we'll say x of 0, x within square bracket 0, if we write we call it as one subscript. So x of 1, here also only one subscript, means one number, one integer number written within square brackets, it is called one subscript. So that's why one dimensional array uses only one subscript. Like that, two-dimensional array uses two subscripts. Three-dimensional array uses three subscripts, means 3 digits within 3 subscripts. Okay, 3 numbers within square brackets. We will come to later on. So the elements of one-dimensional array can be used in programs just like any other variable. That's why we call them as subscripted variables. So here we can say, for example, here array will have the size, means what is the size of the array? The total number of elements present in an array is called the size of array. Here let us say, for example, let's assume that our array to have 5 elements. Then we will say size of array is 5. Then every array is given a name. Okay, every array is given a name. So here you see A is equal to, within square bracket we have written array elements, 5 elements, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this set of elements means 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 integers. How many integers? 5 integers. We'll say they are stored in 5 different memory, 5 contiguous memory locations here. They are stored in consecutive memory locations or contiguous memory locations. All the 5 elements grouped together, given a single name or common name, and that name is an identifier called a array. We call it as a array name. A is called array name. So instead of storing 5 integer numbers at different places and giving them different names like NUM1, NUM2, NUM3, NUM4, NUM5. What we have done, all 5 elements are stored in consecutive locations, side by side locations, and all put together given a single name. Okay, that is called name of the array. So name of the array is an identifier. Whatever the rules we follow for writing an identifier or variable, the same rules we need to follow here for naming an array. So here individual elements of array are accessed along with the name of the array. You remember please that array index always starts from 0. Here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in red color I have written. No? They are called array indices. Array indices. Okay. Array index always starts from 0. This is very, very important. Array index always starts from 0. That means the first element of array always stored in A of 0. Okay. So we name each memory location like this. A of 0 is name of the first memory location. A of 1 is the second memory location. A of 2 is third memory location. A of 3 is fourth memory location. A of 4 is fifth memory location. So we have totally 5 memory locations reserved for array A. We call them as A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, A of 4. And see, our first element is 10. So we will say A of 0 is 10. Our second element is 20. A of 1 is 20. So like that, A of 2 is 30. A of 3 is 40. A of 4 is 50. So here also we can read like this. A of 0 is 10. A of 1 is 20. A of 2 is 30. A of 3 is 40. A of 4 is 50. Like this array elements are stored and every array is given a name. You can observe here all the array elements are int data type. See, no real number or floating point number is available among the elements. So this you have to focus. This is also very, very important. Suppose this is our array. Size of the array is 5. A of 0 is 10. A of 1 is 20. A of 2 is 30. A of 3 is 40. A of 4 is 50. Okay. Then we write them as like this. A of 0 is equal to 10. Then A of 1 is equal to A of 1 is equal to 20. Like that, A of 2 is equal to 30. A of 4 is equal to 40. A of 5 is equal to, sorry, A of 3 is equal to 40 here. A of 3 is equal to 40. A of 4 is equal to 50. So like this we access array elements, and here A of 0 is equal to 10 is called assignment statement. So followed by a semicolon we write it as A of 0 assigned value 10 semicolon. A of 1 assigned value 20 semicolon. A of 2 assigned value 30 semicolon. A of 40 semicolon. So like this we write 5 assignment statements. 5 assignment statements. Using 5 assignment statements we can store array elements into A. So this is what the concept of array. So what is an array? Array is nothing but set of elements of same data type. So even elements of one dimensional array can be used in programs just like any other normal C variable. Like normal C variable we can use array elements. So like this, you see, we write A assigned a value x of 0 plus 10. Here x of 0 is how much? X of 0 is 10. So what will be the value of A now? A will be x of 0 is 10. 10 plus 10, 20. So here 10 is a constant. Here x of 0 is subscripted variable, we call it as, because subscript is used along with array name, we call it as subscripted variable. So like this, array or subscripted variables can be used just like normal variables. So these following statements are valid. A assigned value x of 0 plus 10, x of 4 assigned value p of 0 plus r of 2. Here name of the array is p, here name of the array is r. So that is 0th element of p plus 2nd element of r should be added, and the result should be stored in 4th element of array x. Okay. So here x of 2 assigned value n of I star 3 means the second element of array x is equal to ith element of n, array n multiplied by 3. So whatever you get, that will be stored in x of 2. Like this, subscripted variables, or we also call them as array variables, can be used just like normal variables. Okay. So next, let us see how to declare one-dimensional arrays. See, before using arrays in any program, first we must declare the arrays. You know why declaration is always necessary? Declaration is required to reserve memory for the array. So even we declare variables. Why we declare variables? To reserve memory for the variables. Like that, if we have to use an array in a program, then we have to first reserve the memory to store array elements. So for that purpose, we need to declare the array. Okay. So to use any array, we must declare the array. Like any other normal variables, we are going to declare array also. So this is the syntax of array declaration. See here, type means data type, variable name, or even you call it as array name or variable name. Within square brackets, we write size. Within square brackets, we write size, and terminated by semicolon. So here type is data type. So I said data type may be int, or here it may be float, or it may be char, character. Then variable name or array name we can write. So name of the array. In the above case, we have written array name as x. X is our array name here. Here x is the array name. Okay. So array name can be a valid identifier. Then within square bracket, size of the array. So I said I had taken array A where the size was 5. So here 5, size must be always an integer or integer expression, or it must be integer, terminated by semicolon. Okay. Say example, here it is given, say float data type, name of the array or variable name height, within square bracket 50, semicolon. So this means what? 50 memory locations are reserved and given a common name called height, and all the elements of array height are data type float. Like that, here see int group 10 semicolon. So data type is int, variable name or array name is group, within square brackets we have written 10, terminated by semicolon. So here group is name of the array, 10 is size of the array, that is number of elements, 10 elements. So 10 locations are reserved, and all the elements of array group are of data type int. Here see third one, chr name of 10 semicolon. Here name is variable name or array name, so which contains size 10 within square brackets, means name array contains 10 elements. So what is the data type of each element? Character type, chr, so terminated by semicolon. So this is how we are going to declare the arrays. Before we use the arrays in the program, first we have to declare the arrays with this syntax: type or data type, variable name or array name, within square bracket size, semicolon. So this is also very important. So an array is actually a derived data type. Array is a derived data type, means whose elements are derived from basic data types, that is either int or float or character. So this array is also known as derived data type. And we have to remember that when declaring character arrays, we must allow an extra space, okay, for null character, null terminator, null character. So that we will come to know when we discuss this one. Strings. So next we shall discuss initialization of one-dimensional arrays. So initialization of one-dimensional arrays is nothing but what? Storing the values into array during declaration itself. That is what called always initialization. Okay. So initialization means during declaration of array itself, assigning the values or storing the values or initializing the values. So that concept we call it as initialization of one dimensional array. Okay. So after declaring an array, its elements must be initialized, otherwise they will contain garbage values, random values. So that's why once you declare the arrays, you have to initialize it, or you may have to read the values into arrays. So first we shall see how to initialize the arrays. So there are two ways of initializing arrays. Okay. One is called we can initialize the array at compilation time itself, and second one at runtime itself. So during compilation itself we can assign the values, or at runtime or at execution time, during execution of a program we can initialize the values. So these are the two types of array, one dimensional array initialization. So let us see what is meant by compile time initialization. Compile time initialization means initialization of array elements is done during declaration of array itself. Okay. So general form of initialization of arrays during compile time is, see, this is the syntax of array initialization. Compile time initialization. This is the syntax of compile time one dimensional array initialization. So that is type. So it is almost declaration syntax followed by something. See, declaration we have type, variable name within square bracket, size. Same, instead of semicolon we remove semicolon and continue here. See, type, variable name or array name within square bracket we have size. Then assignment operator here, and within a pair of curly braces we use list of values. See, this is very important. Within curly braces we write and terminated by semicolon. So this is the syntax for initialization of one dimensional arrays during compilation time. Example, you see, data type int, variable name size means array name size. So number of 3 within square bracket is equal to, within curly braces we write 3 elements are there, no, 0, 0, 0, 3 elements, semicolon, terminated by semicolon. Okay. And this is called complete initialization. We are going to call it as complete initialization. See, observe here, what is the size of the array? 3. So how many elements are initialized? All the 3 elements are zeros, 0, 0, 0. So second example, you see, data type float, variable name or array name is total, within square bracket we have size 5, means 5 elements are reserved, name is total. Assigned a value, see, assigned a value, assignment operator, within curly braces we have 0.0, because data type is float here, that's why 0.0, comma 15.75, comma minus 10, let us say, minus 10, means it will be stored as minus 10.0, semicolon. Okay. So here 0.0, 15.75, comma minus 10.0 you consider it. So totally how many elements are there? 3 elements. But what is the size? Size is 5. But how many elements we are initializing? Only 3 elements we are initializing. So remaining 2 elements it will be stored as 0.0 only. Okay. This is called partial initialization. We call it as partial initialization. So here you can observe here in third case, data type int, array name counter, then within square bracket size, we have not given any size here, size is not specified, it is blank, remember it. Then assignment operator, within pair of curly braces, list of values 1, 1, 1, 1, semicolon. So how many values are there? We are initializing 4 values, but what is the size here? Not specified, blank. So that's why it assumes now the size as 4, because we are initializing 4 elements into this array counter. That's why size will be automatically assumed by the compiler as 4. Suppose if we take here 1, 1, 1, 1, 2 more ones, then size will be assumed as 6, like that. So we call this third one as array initialization without size. First one is complete initialization. Second one is float total of 5 is partial initialization, because size is 5, only 3 elements are initialized. And third one is initialization of array without size, because we are not specified any size. Then obviously number of elements that we have specified in list of values, that will be the size of the array. Okay. So then fourth one, you see, data type is character CHR, variable name. So name we have taken. So array name is name, within square bracket no size we have mentioned, is equal to, within pair of curly braces we have characters. See, I have told you character should be always enclosed within single quote. So that's why J within single quote, comma, O within single quote, comma, H within single quote, comma, N within single quote, comma. Then backslash 0 is, though even though there are two characters, they are treated as single character only. Escape constants means one character is escape within single quotes. So here, what is the size of name? How many elements we are initializing? 1, 2, 3, 4, John. But for array of character type, one extra, this backslash 0 is there, that will be assumed. That's why size of the array will be here 5. See, totally within curly braces, how many elements we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why size of the array name is 5. Here also see, same thing we can rewrite. This is called character initialization. Character initialization. Then say same thing we can also write it as chr name of within square bracket no size is equal to John within double inverted comma we have written. So whatever is written within double inverted comma is called string. So here John is a string. So how many terminated by semicolon? This is also array initialization, character array initialization. So how many characters are there within double quotes? 4, JOHN. But here size of the array name will be treated as 5 because this backslash 0 is assumed. It is called null character. But here in previous case we have represented it within single quotes, but here it is not necessary to represent. So that's why it will be assumed that there is a backslash 0 because every string is terminated by null character. So this backslash 0 is called null character. So that's why size of the array in such cases should be always one extra than the number of characters within the string. So here size of the array name is 5. So this is how arrays are initialized during compilation time. Okay. The same thing is explained here. See, integer n of 5, 10, 20. So this is here only 2 elements are initialized. So remaining elements will be initialized to 0 here because size is 5, but only 2 elements are initialized. So remaining elements will be initialized as 0. Here say character city of 5 is equal to B within single inverted comma. Remaining elements will be initialized to null character, that is remaining 4 will be backslash zeros. Okay. And here see this type of initialization n of 3 is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. Observe here n of 3. Okay. Integer n of 3 assigned a value 10, 20, 30, 40. So how many elements are there? 4. But what is the size given? 3. That's why this type of initialization is illegal because the size is 3 but 4 elements are being initialized. So that's why it is error. Okay. Because only 3 locations are reserved here. When we initialize, only 3 declare, only 3 memory locations are reserved, but we are trying to store 4 elements. How come it is possible to store 4 elements into 3 locations? That's why it is treated as illegal. So it is going to display error. So this is all about initialization of one-dimensional arrays during compilation time. So another case is let us see one example how to execute this program to initialize one-dimensional initialization of one-dimensional arrays during compilation. We can observe here in hash include stdio.h void main int a of 5. So data type int a of 5, name of the array is a, within square bracket 5 I have taken, so it is size of the array is equal to initialization 5 elements I have initialized within curly braces 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50 close semicolon. So during declaration itself I have initialized 5 elements because size of array is 5. So clear screen. Then see I am writing all the elements. So when I initialize it means a of 0 will be 10 now, a of 1 will be 20, a of 2 will be 30, a of 4 will be 40, a of 5 will be 50. I am printing the array elements on the screen. I am bringing them onto the screen. In memory they are stored. I am displaying them on the screen like using printf statement. See here printf %d backslash n means in next line. Control goes to next line. So in place of %d, like normal variable we use subscripted variable. So first element, what is the first element? A of 0. That's why I have written here a of 0. So printf %d, then in place of %d a of 1, second element, then third element, fourth element, fifth element. So this I am going to display. After displaying every element I am using here backslash and see control goes to next line. Let us see what is the output. See See the output 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 means one below the other the elements are displayed. Okay, so this is how. So during initialization itself, during declaration itself, the elements are initialized, and this is called compile time initialization. Let us see runtime initialization. What is meant by runtime initialization? Means initializing array elements during execution of a program. Okay, so in this type, the initialization of array elements is done during the runtime or program execution. Okay, this type of approach we use usually for initializing large array elements. Okay, to initialize elements for large arrays, we use runtime initialization. See here, float sum of 50. Okay, so here itself we have not initialized, we have not taken assignment operator, curly braces, semicolon, just we have declared array. Data type is float, name of the array is sum, size is 50. Then in the program, this is declaration. In the program we are initializing the values using for loop. See, for I assigned value 0, I is less than 50, I plus plus. Okay, this is body of the for loop. If I value is less than 25, sum of I assigned value 0.0, else sum of I assigned value 1.0. means value of I is less than 0, means for first 25 elements value of I will be less than 25, because every time I value is being increased by 1. So first 25 elements will be initialized with 0.0, and I value once it becomes equal, means first 24 elements will be initialized with 0.0, and when I becomes 25, so this condition becomes false, then this is skipped, else part is executed. Sum of I assigned value 1.0 means remaining 25 elements will be initialized with 1.0, means during execution of program these values are initialized, not during declaration. That's why they are called runtime initialization. So let us see what is meant by runtime initialization. See here, you can observe here, float, same program, void main, float sum of 50 means array name is sum, data type is float, array name is sum, and size of the array is 50. 50 memory locations are reserved to store 50 values of data type float, and I am going to use for loop, and for loop uses variable I. Okay, loop variable I, that's why I is declared as of data type integer. It should be of data type integer. Okay, in time. Okay, now here see, same for loop I have used. For I assigned 0, I is less than 50, I plus plus. If I value is less than 25, sum of I assigned value is 0.00, means first 0 to 24, means first 25 numbers elements are initialized with 0.0, then else next 25 elements are initialized with 1.0. This is called runtime initialization. So all the elements are present in sum of 50, and we are going to print them using for loop here. For I assigned value 0, I is less than 50, I plus plus, printf. So because we have taken data type float, all the array elements are of a floating point data type, so our format character is %f, and each time we have to print the value of ith element. That's why sum of I, in place of %f, what will be displayed? Sum of I. Let us see what is the output. See, so you can observe here, first 25 elements are stored as 0.0000, and remaining 25 elements are stored as 0.0001, like that. Okay, so this is what runtime initialization means. During execution of the program we have initialized these values, that's why it is called runtime initialization. So this is how we have two types of one-dimensional array initializations, called compile time initialization and runtime initialization. So next, using constants as array size. Okay, so we can use the constants to define the array size. So but the constants must have been defined using hash define, like this you can see here. Before itself before usage of constants we must have declared the constants. Like you see, you can observe here, hash defined num 150, my preprocessor directive is used to define a constant num. Hash define num 150 means num value is 150. Now we can declare the array like this: int name of the array is test, size of the array is num. So what is the value of num? Already before this we have stored 150, so size of the array test is 150 semicolon. So this is how we can use constants to constants can be used as array size. Whereas the following way of declaration is illegal way of declaration. See here, int num assigned value 150 means num variable is initialized during declaration. Okay, here num is a variable, not a constant, because during declaration we have stored 150 means it is not a constant, it is variable. Whereas here hash define we have used, that's why here num is constant. That is the difference you have to note. So like this we cannot use variable as a size of array. See, int test we cannot use num semicolon. So here num, because it is variable, it is illegal. So this is how you can use constants as array size. Okay. We shall discuss how to read and write one-dimensional array. So what is meant by reading and writing one-dimensional array? Okay. So before using an array, I have told you we have to declare the array, and you can store the elements into array during declaration itself. That is, storing elements into array during declaration is called initialization of array. Means elements you can store into array using initialization, array initialization. That is one method of reading array. That can be done during compilation time. So during runtime we can store elements into array. That is called reading an array using scanf statement. So once we store the elements into array, we have to bring them or display them on the screen. For that we call it as writing elements of one-dimensional array. So we can read elements into array using scanf statement, and we can display the array elements on the screen using printf statement. Okay. So storing the values into array is called reading an array. Displaying the stored elements on screen is called writing the array. So that is what concept of reading and writing one-dimensional array. Okay. So for that we use, first we have to declare the array. See, before using an array, I have told you we have to declare the array. So here hash in this is /star reading, or we can see here this is a preprocessor directive, void main. This is all common. So declaration int a of 10 means a is name of the array, number of elements are 10. So a of 10 means data type, name of the array, size within square brackets. So 10 elements are reserved for array A. Comma, what is the size of the array? We are taking variable n. Okay. So that is 10 elements are reserved, but we need not store all the 10 elements. Suppose out of 10 I am going to store only 5 elements into array. So then that is what, for that purpose I am reading value of n. That is what is the size of the array. 10 locations are reserved here, but how many elements I am storing, that will be that can be known by n. And I, we are using for loop here, so loop variable is I. Okay. For reading array, writing array, we use always for loop. Remember it. Please remember it. We use always for loop because we know how many elements are there to be read and how many elements are there to be printed. So when we know number of times body of the loop has to be executed, we will always prefer to use for loop. That's why for reading array we use for loop, for writing array we use for loop. Okay. So clear screen. Enter number of elements. So how many locations are reserved here? 10 locations. But we wish to store only 5 elements. That's what n. So read the value of n. Scanf %d comma ampersand n. But every scanf should be preceded by printf. So printf enter number of elements. Now see reading array. This is a comment /star// between that whatever is present is comment, non-executable statement. Okay, for our understanding purpose or documentation purpose we use these comments. They are not executed. Okay. So one printf statement we are using \n enter array elements. So the new line it will display enter array elements colon. Then for loop, n times we execute this scanf statement. So because suppose n is 5 times this for loop is executed. For I assigned value 0, I have told you array index always starts from 0, that's why you have to take always I assigned value 0. For I assigned value 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Scanf, syntax of the scanf within inverted comma format character comma after that variable name. So only one format character is there, so only one variable, but here the variable is not a normal variable, it is subscripted variable. When I is equal to 0, it is a of 0. When I plus plus means a becomes 1, a of 1. I plus plus means a becomes 2, a of 2. Like that it goes on up to less than n. Suppose that we have seen. Suppose array size is 5, array subscripts vary from 0 to 4. So that's why here it is taken as less than n. So this code is common. This code is common. So we have to input the elements. How many elements we have to input? Because scanf means we have to input the elements. We have to give the element. How many elements we have to give? If you read value of n as 5, here we have to give 5 elements. Let us see this afterwards through execution of the program. So this scanf statement, this part of the program for I assigned 0, I is less than n, I plus plus scanf percentage d ampersand a of 5. It stores elements into array, means we are going to read the elements through keyboard. We give the element, we type the elements through keyboard and they are stored in memory, not visible to us. Suppose we have to see them, means we have to bring the memory contents, array contents onto the screen. For that purpose we use printf statement, and that is called writing an array. Slash star slash, between that we have written writing an array comment. So this is the code. So on printf statement, for our convenient purpose we write printf in new line, the given array is colon. Then control goes to next line, it will display. So instead of this same, instead of scanf we use printf. See, for I assigned value 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Instead of scanf we use printf percentage d percentage d. Here we have used ampersand a of I because this is the input statement, and here we don't write ampersand, address operator we don't write. A of I. You can observe here scanf percentage d, no space, no blank space. But here I have written one blank space because the array elements should be displayed with some space, that we will discuss through the program. This is end of main. So this is what reading and writing one dimensional array. So reading and writing one dimensional array. Reading an array, writing an array. This is writing an array. So for both the purpose we use for loop. For reading we use scanf statement. For writing we use printf statement. And before using an array, here what is array? A of I. So before using an array must be declared. See, here we have declared a of 10 of data type int. And because number of elements we are going to use, so variable n is declared. Because for loop contains I, variable I is declared. So let us execute the same program using Turbo C compiler. Same program I have typed here. You can observe reading and writing one dimensional array, void main, int a of 10 comma n comma I, then enter number of elements, scanf percentage d ampersand n, okay. Then reading an array, for loop, then scanf ampersand a of I, then writing an array, for loop, printf. Let us see this. See what will be the output. Enter number of elements. So now I wish my array to contain 5 elements. So I will give 5. Enter number of elements. 5 I have given. Okay. Then see 12, 3, 5, 6, 7, 12, 3, 5, 6, 7, 5 elements it takes, and they are displayed without any blank space. So that's why I just modify my printf statement. During displaying, some space is not left, so I have to modify my printf statement. See here. See this one, scan printf. During printf I leave some space, so I leave 1 space or 2 space I leave. See now what will be the output. Enter number of elements, I will give 5. Enter the element, so it is not displaying 5 we have given. Next, what to do? It is not displaying. So now scanf statement is executed, then it is not displaying what to do. So that's why scanf should be always preceded by printf statement. Suppose if we display here enter array elements, then it would be convenient for us. That's why we shall modify the program. So now let us see. First 5 elements we shall type 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. See, now space is left. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So before this we shall use one. That's why scanf should be always preceded by printf statement. Here see, scanf should be always here. This one, reading an array. Here before that for loop, it is better to write on printf statement. Printf, okay, in new line. In new line, what is to be displayed? Enter array elements. Enter array elements. In next line you have to enter array elements. Within double quote I write this one. Okay, then see what happens. Now it will display one message. Enter number of array element. Now I'll enter only 4. See, enter array elements. Now it will be convenient for us to enter how many elements. Enter 4 elements, like 1, 2, 3, 4 I will give. See, now 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So even here, see, just instead of displaying 1, 2, 3, 4, if we write the given array is 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be better. That's why that can also be displayed by modifying our printf statement here. See, here you can modify. You observe here how many elements are reserved here during declaration. How many locations are reserved? 10 locations. But we are using 4 or 5, something like that. See here, instead of printing array elements, writing an array, instead of just using printf, we can use one more printf statement. Printf in new line. In new line, the given array is. Go to the next line and display the array. This will be better. See what will be the output. Enter number of elements. Now I'll give 6. Enter array element. 6 elements I have to give. 12, 34, 56, 78, then 23, then 67. 6 elements were given. See, the given array is 12, 34, 56, 78, 23, 67. So this is how we can read the array and write the array. This is very, very important, because to solve problems with array, to perform operations on arrays, always we have to read the arrays and we have to write the arrays. This code is common. This code is common for reading arrays. In all array problems we have to read the array, then in all array problems we have to write the array. So to read the array, this code is common. To write the array, this code is common. Okay, this you have to practice thoroughly. Always you have to read number of elements here. What is the size of the array or number of elements. So this is what you have to practice. This is called reading and writing the arrays. If you want, you can execute it. See, number of elements you can give one below the other also. See, here enter number of elements, I'll give 3. So now I have to enter 3 elements. Enter array elements, I have to enter 3 elements, one below other I'll give. 10, enter. 20, enter. 30, enter. So 10 is for a of 0, because size is given, I have given 3. Okay, a of 3. So a of 0 is 10, a of 1 is 20, a of 2 is 30. So after giving 3 values, if I press enter once again, automatically it will execute the next statement. Given array is 10, 20, 30. If you want to display the given array is 10, 20, 30, one below the other, what you have to do? You have to just modify your printf statement. So here, see, printf statement. Array elements are printed here. You want to modify them. You can use just one backslash n here. Enough. See, control. See. I'll give enter number of elements. I'll give 4. Now enter array elements 1, 2, 3, 4. See, the given array elements are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, like this you can display one below the other. You can observe the space here. One more thing, you can observe. See, here one blank space I am giving in printf statement here. You can observe here in percentage D, one blank space I have given. Okay. Now see how the output. Enter 3 I will give. Enter the array elements. I'll give 5, 8, 9. See, only one blank space is displayed between the array elements. Now I just modify that here. Instead of in printf statement to print array elements, instead of just percentage D, I'll give 8D. 8D means 8 columns are reserved for each array element. See how the output will be. Enter array element 4 I'll give. Enter 4 elements, array elements 12, 4, 7, 9. See the given array is, now because I have given their format character modified 8D, 8 columns are reserved for each element, and this is how your output is displayed. Okay, so this is all about what is an array, what are the types of arrays, one dimensional array and multi-dimensional arrays, and how to declare the arrays, one dimensional arrays, that is during compilation time or during execution time or run time. Then how to read the array elements and how to write the array elements. So you practice this repeatedly, watch the video, practice this, and you can become perfect. So this is all about today's session, and thank you for watching my video. Thank you once again.